The man who shook the financial world with a single book, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, is warning us about a mayhem coming. Bad days are coming, and how to overcome that. Listen to this video and you will surely get through it. We dare you not to skip even a single second, because every second is precious. Robert Kiyosaki is pointing his fingers towards the coronavirus. We all did that, blaming the pandemic for creating a stage of nothingness in our lives. Robert is correlating the pandemic and the industrial age. The market has been crashing from there on, and the industries will suffer in recent times. The end of the industrial age nourishes the age of information technology. We're already stepping into that phase. Everything is computerized, and we cannot imagine doing anything without the help of computers. That'd be a huge leap for humanity. The next question is about our existence. Will we survive in this modernized age? According to this finance king, the people who will suffer are those still stuck in the industrial age thoughts. If you're facing financial troubles, you have not moved on yet. It is high time now. I'm going to lose my job, my house, my pension, and all this is because you are trapped in the old thoughts. Isn't he right? Acceptance is crucial. World is developing, and we were born in a then-developed age. People at the time could not even realize the entry of machines, but most of the crowd welcomed the changes and blended with them. Likewise, it is our time to accept the changes. Everything is for good to make our lives easier. Anyone who has not yet read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is neglecting their financial freedom. You have to read the book. In fact, you have to keep a copy for yourself. Refer to the pages when you need advice. Robert remembers that the mainstream media executed him about 20 years ago when he published this book. They said Robert did not know what he was talking about in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because he said the following quotes: "The rich don't work for money. Savers are losers, and your house is not an asset." That was crucified. Comment below if you agree or disagree with any of these statements. According to Robert, the best thing you can get right now is not a job security, but meaningful work. No one needs money until the work is meaningful. This meaningful work helps you pass the hard times. The good news for Robert was that his company was sold out and could not continue with the product. The bad news was that the supply chain got shut down. Still, that was not the worst problem. He had tons of gold, silver, and a lot of cash, but he had challenges in the real estate market too. He thought that would make him stronger because that was the only way he could move on. Otherwise, he will depend on the government, saying, well, the government should take care of me. I need a bailout. I need a stimulus. Stimulus means welfare for the rich. He was laughing while saying this. If that was the correct word, Robert was not a school person. The reason was that he was politically incorrect. He wanted to make them understand, though, this story. Let us just think of Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, There was a Tin Man, the Straw Man, and a lion with no heart. And so they thought they could see the wizard, and the wizard would give them what they asked for. So they pranced on the yellow brick road and pulled back to the curb. There is a big illusion. Everybody thinks that they are wizards. They do magic, but they are under the control of the Grunch Gross Universal Cash Heist. What is Gross Universal Cash Heist? Some theft? Our money is stolen by the money we work for. We need financial independence, but we must acquire financial education before that because the root problem of the upcoming crisis is the lack of financial literacy. In 1904, the wealthiest person in the USA took over the education system. They formed the General Education Board. They mean these three guys: Andrew Carnegie, John Rockefeller, and J.P. Morgan. They removed financial education from the system. This is what he wrote in his book. In 1997, he wrote, "Wake up, something is coming down the road." Now we are at the biggest transformation the world has ever faced, from the industrial age to the information age. Robert is carefree for this transition because he has already adapted to it. He's making more money. He has problems, but money is flowing in more than ever before. But if you're losing, only right now you have to ask this: what was I taught in school? Because they never taught you about money. But the rich dad did. Schools will teach you that a diploma is everything, but according to the rich dad, it is just a piece of toilet paper. Money is everything. If that is your thought, then listen. Buckminster Fuller once said, "The prison is inside your head." Remember these words: misinformation and misorientation. Everyone makes mistakes, and it's good to do so. God designed us to make mistakes and learn from them. Unfortunately, our schools punish us for making mistakes. In 2008, the credit default swapped for residential real estate. They were bailed out. The next crash happened for hedge funds and private equity, which included commercial real estate. Robert had $100 million project and was bailed out. He got backed by the government. That is why it is socialism for the rich and capitalism for the poor and middle class. The poor and middle class work for money. That is a problem with the money is everything attitude. The national debt of World War II was $25 billion. Today, $125 billion has been printed every day. Imagine it like a hot air balloon with a tear, and we're trying to fly it. In financial terms, the debt to GDP has gone from 60 to 90 to 105, reaching 120. We're bankrupt. but they are printing more and more money. This means savers are losers. Money is being printed now and then. There's no point in saving. Your money will have zero value once. According to Robert, this is a metamorphosis stage, and financial education is a financial transformation. What is a metamorphosis? This is a transformation from an immature form to an adult life, like a caterpillar. Guys, if you're listening to this video and facing a financial crisis this time, think of yourself as a caterpillar. Your struggles are in the cocoon stage. You have to emerge, but not as a victim. The victim believes that the riches are all bastards, or else you can say, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. The choice is solely yours. Come out of the immature phase where you depend on your parents and the government, blaming your boss and living a petty life. If you grow up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, and health-wise, voila. This is the best thing that happened to me, but you'll not make it if you are still a victim. How many of you already know that Robert Kiyosaki served in the Marine Corps and was in Vietnam as an officer and a helicopter gunship pilot? He says, I was going to blow this little boy's head off in Vietnam. Why am I doing this? Why am I going to kill this 10-year-old boy? I was justified by the rules of engagement to shoot him. That was the realization we all needed. Look at the mirror and ask yourself. Everybody talks about their rights, but we have our responsibilities too. That is why the metamorphosis begins. The most important part of getting a job is tenure. Even the kids are being taught the same thing. For Robert, college professors are the most immature but mentally smart. They can't lead themselves, so they're teaching the kids the same wrong way. They're teaching you that you are a victim and vulnerable. But what Robert wants to teach you is not to become a victim. Be proactive. Robert has something to teach us too, to become financially free. Gold and silver, according to him, are God's money. So these will stay even if humans perish. There is no counterparty risk. The gold market is manipulated. It will go up and down. The future markets are the ETF market, GLD and SLV. Gold prices may decrease, but you cannot afford gold in the physical market. In the coming days, GLD is coming down and the paper market is coming down. But the rich hoard it, and you'll never get the benefits. The riches are holding on to gold and silver. When the poor and middle class call their financial advisor, they ask them to stay in it for the long term. In the meantime, the wealthy people are reaping. Wake up is the message Robert Kiyosaki is giving to us. Hope you find this useful. Then give it a like. Comment down below the things you have learned and the learnings you would like to share. For sharing more Money Matters will be coming. See you soon. Bye.